All right, Inside In. We're tackling Taylor Swift's 1989 today.
Oh, yeah, this one's going to be good.
The album that basically launched her into pop superstardom. It's fascinating how calculated it all felt. Like it wasn't just a new sound, it was a complete image makeover. We'll be using clips from different documentaries about her to break it all down.
Looking forward to it.
So, are you ready to uncover the secrets behind 1989?
Absolutely. Let's do this.
What strikes me is that this reinvention wasn't totally out of nowhere. Even as a kid, Taylor was incredibly focused.
Right.
How many toddlers are out there belting out Disney songs and winning poetry contests? I mean, come on, that's not just cute.
Definitely not.
That's drive.
You know, it makes you wonder if those early years kind of paved the way for her pop domination, right? Her grandma was a professional opera singer and even a TV host in Puerto Rico.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like, was that always in her blood? You know, like destined for stardom.
Maybe, but talent might be inherited, but work ethic, that's all Taylor. Those documentaries show her practicing guitar for hours on end as a kid, even taping her fingers because they hurt so much.
That's insane.
And then at 13, she convinces her whole family to move to Nashville.
That's wild.
That's not just a teenage whim.
No.
That's serious commitment.
Absolutely.
But Nashville wasn't exactly welcoming her with open arms, right?
Right.
You'd think a talented kid like that would be scooped up immediately. But she faced a lot of rejection early on.
Oh, yeah.
What was it about the music industry there that made it so tough?
Well, Nashville's songwriting culture is really unique. It's incredibly competitive, but also super collaborative. It's not enough to just sing well.
Right.
You have to write hits, and often with these seasoned veterans.
Wow.
So imagine, a teenager in a room full of industry heavyweights pitching her songs.
Oh, gosh.
That takes some serious guts.
From what I've seen in the documentary, she was writing all the time, like constantly.
Oh, yeah.
Like her life depended on it.
It's true.
A lot of those early songs never even made it onto her albums. But they're so interesting to listen to.
For sure.
Check out This View, for example, has this raw emotion that you don't always hear in her more polished work.
Yeah, those early efforts are like a window into her development as a songwriter.
Yeah.
She wasn't afraid to pour her heart out, but she was also learning how to craft songs that were both personal and universal. I remember this one collaborator, Liz Rose.
I think I've heard of her.
She talks about how she actually had to defend Taylor's songwriting talent when she was only 14.
14, oh my.
People couldn't believe someone that young could write with such depth.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So we have this incredibly talented, driven kid honing her craft in this high-pressure environment. But 1989 feels like a whole other level. Let's talk about that transition from country to pop. Was it gradual or was it like a sudden leap?
Well, it was calculated, for sure,
Okay.
but it wasn't totally out of character for her. Even her early country hits had these pop elements in them.
Right.
But 1989, that was a deliberate statement. Shake It Off was the lead single, and sonically, it's just worlds away from her earlier work.
Yeah?
You can hear it in the production, the synths, even the way her vocals are layered.
Yeah, it's like she shed a skin and came out as this confident, edgy pop star. Even the music videos were different, much more stylized, almost cinematic. The one for Blank Space is practically a mini-movie. It's like she's playing with the media's perception of her.
That video was brilliant. She took this whole crazy girlfriend stereotype and turned it into satire. She was poking fun at the tabloids, but also owning her narrative at the same time. It was a power move, for sure, saying, hey, I'm in control of my image and I'm going to use it.
And she wasn't just playing with her image in the videos either. This is when the whole SWAD thing started to appear.
Right.
Suddenly she's surrounded by these supermodels and actresses. They're presenting this united front of powerful women.
That was a big moment.
Was it genuine friendship, a PR stunt, or a bit of both? What do you think?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
The documentaries offer these little glimpses into the friendships, but ultimately it's up to us to speculate.
Right.
But what's undeniable is the impact it had.
Yeah.
It resonated with so many young women who were looking for that kind of female camaraderie.
It definitely tapped into something in the culture. Suddenly, every girl group wanted to be a squad.
Yeah.
It became aspirational, like a symbol of female empowerment.
Definitely.
But let's be real, it also played into the whole celebrity obsession thing, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It blurred the lines between genuine connection and this carefully curated image.
Hmm.
And that's a theme that runs through Taylor Swift's entire career, really.
Yeah.
Something we'll definitely explore further as we dive deeper into 1989. This whole image versus reality thing is so fascinating, especially when it comes to 1989.
Yeah, totally. It's like she's playing with what we expect from pop stars. And it wasn't just the squad either. Like her whole style transformed. Gone were the country cute dresses and suddenly it's high fashion couture.
Right.
Did that just happen naturally or was it a strategic choice, you think?
Well, the documentary suggests she's always been into fashion.
Okay.
But with 1989, it felt like a deliberate level up. Think about her earlier red carpet looks. They were cute, but safe.
Yeah.
And then bam, it's bold colors, sleek lines. Like she's mirroring the evolution of her music visually.
And the fans loved it. Every single outfit was analyzed online, copied. It became part of her brand.
Absolutely.
It makes you wonder how much of this persona was really Taylor and how much was, the industry machine.
That's the big question, isn't it? And it's not just her. Every celebrity, especially the ones who get famous young, has to figure out that balance between who they are and what the public wants.
It's like walking a tightrope.
Totally.
And speaking of tightropes, let's talk about that whole Spotify situation. Pulling her entire catalog from the platform.
Oh, yeah.
That was unheard of back then.
Huge move.
Most artists were scrambling to get on streaming platforms, but she took a stand.
It was a statement.
Was it purely about artist compensation, or was there something more to it?
On the surface, yeah, it was about fair pay. Streaming was blowing up, but artists were barely getting anything while the platforms were making a fortune. But the timing was key.
Yeah.
This was before Apple Music was a big player, so Spotify was basically it. Taylor making that move forced a conversation that the music industry just couldn't ignore.
It wasn't just talk either, right? It put pressure on labels to rework contracts, on platforms to offer better rates to artists. Didn't solve everything, but it was a huge shift.
For sure.
And the fact that she was the biggest name to do it gave it so much weight.
Absolutely. And it really cemented this image of her as not just a musician, but a smart businesswoman.
Right.
Willing to risk short-term losses to achieve a long-term goal. And that resonated, especially with younger artists who felt like the system was taking advantage of them.
Yeah, for sure. And let's not forget, she was releasing hit after hit during all of this. But 1989 wasn't just the music, it was the tour as well.
Oh, yeah. That tour was massive.
Stadiums packed, guest stars, these elaborate sets. It felt like the culmination of everything she'd been working towards, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. The 1989 World Tour was like this victory lap, but also a statement. It went beyond just playing the songs. It was a full-on show.
Right.
Every little detail felt carefully planned, from the costume changes to the surprise guests, to create this larger-than-life experience.
And she brought out all the squad members too, right?
Oh, yeah.
It turned into this whole spectacle.
It was wild.
Like watching this pop culture dream team come together on stage.
Definitely.
Did it feel genuine, though? Or was it all part of the performance?
That's the interesting thing. She kept it ambiguous.
Right.
You could see it as a celebration of female friendship or a calculated PR move, maybe both. It was like she was challenging the audience to overthink it, to question what fame and performance really mean.
That's a good point. It brings us back to the question we asked earlier. Can you think of any other celebrity who's been able to reinvent themselves as successfully as she has?
It's a tough one. Reinvention is hard, especially when you're already at the top.
Right.
Because you risk alienating your current fans while trying to win over new ones.
You have to strike a balance.
Exactly. But Taylor did it perfectly. She honored her roots while still evolving, and I think that's why it worked so well.
And it wasn't just a one-time thing either. Looking back at her whole career, she's constantly shifting and growing, exploring new genres, experimenting with different sounds.
She never stays in one place for too long.
Is she the queen of reinvention? Maybe that's the question we should be thinking about as we head into the final part of this deep dive. It's pretty amazing to think about how even after 1989 blew up, Taylor didn't just, settle into a formula. She kept pushing, kept evolving, almost like she can't stand still,
Totally. And that constant evolution hasn't always been smooth sailing. Remember that whole Kanye, Kim Kardashian thing?
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Talk about intense public scrutiny. That could have ended anyone's career.
It really showed how social media can completely twist a narrative. Suddenly, this pop princess is being called a snake. And it felt like everyone was against her.
It was brutal.
How did she even come back from that?
It shows her resilience, for sure.
Yeah.
It may be a bit of strategy, too. She went silent for a while, almost like she was regrouping, And then when she came back with Reputation,
Oh, yeah.
it was darker, edgier, like she was acknowledging the drama, but also taking back control.
And sonically, Reputation was pretty different too, wasn't it?
Definitely.
It had those trap influences, a harder sound overall. Was she trying to ditch that good girl image?
It felt deliberate, like she was saying, you think you know me, guess again.
Hmm.
But even with the darker themes, there was still vulnerability there.
Right.
Songs like Delicate and New Year's Day still had that emotional honesty that her fans connect with.
Yeah. And then, just when we all thought we had her figured out, she releases Folklore and Evermore, these super introspective, folk-inspired albums.
Right.
Total 180 from Reputation.
It was a surprise.
Was that a genuine artistic shift or another calculated move? What do you think?
It's hard to say because the documentaries don't really go into her process for those albums.
Okay.
We know the pandemic had an influence, this whole idea of isolation and reflection. But it also showed her range, She can go from huge pop anthems to these quiet, almost whispered folk songs, and it all feels authentic.
And then there's the re-recordings. Losing control of her masters to Scooter Braun, that was a huge blow.
Oh, definitely.
Not just financially, but artistically, too.
Absolutely.
What made her decide to re-record her entire catalog?
It was a bold move and a risky one.
Yeah.
Some people thought it was petty, but I think it sent a message.
What kind of message?
That she was taking back control, not just for herself, but for other artists who felt powerless against the industry.
And it worked. The re-recordings were huge successes, proving that her fans were right there with her.
It was like this big screw you to the system and a reminder that she's not afraid to fight for what she believes in.
And through it all, she's maintained this incredible connection with her fans.
It's remarkable, really.
We analyze every single lyric, every Instagram post.
Oh, I know.
Looking for clues, for hidden meanings. It's like she's created this whole world that they're a part of.
It's a phenomenon.
Which brings us to the Eras Tour.
Oh, yeah.
This massive celebration of her entire career.
It's huge.
It's not just a concert, it's an experience. People are flying in from all over the world, spending tons of money just to be there.
Yeah.
What do you think that says about her impact?
It shows her ability to create a mythos around herself.
The mythos.
Yeah, it's not just about the music anymore. It's about the community, the shared experience, the feeling of belonging. It's like she's tapped into this deep human need to be part of something bigger than ourselves.
Wow. So we've seen her go from country princess to pop queen, from feuds and drama to reclaiming her power.
It's been a journey.
She's been analyzed, criticized, worshipped.
Yeah.
But through it all, Taylor Swift has stayed Taylor Swift.
And that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
In an industry that's obsessed with image and reinvention, she's managed to do both while still being true to herself. Whether you're a fan or not, you can't deny the impact she's had.
That's for sure. As we wrap up this deep dive, I keep thinking, what will her legacy be? Will she be remembered as a songwriter, a performer, a businesswoman, or all of the above?
It's an interesting question. I guess only time will tell.
Right.
But one thing's certain, Taylor Swift's story isn't over yet.
Not even close. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Taylor Swift's 1989 era.
It was fun.
Be sure to check out the show notes for more information on everything we discussed today. Until next time.
Whispering.